Welcome to another episode on our channel. We're going to kind of keep going down that path of Lewis and Clark, the expedition, the Corps of Discovery that we started in the last episode, where I showed you a custom of an explorer. I'm going to call that explorer Toussaint Charbonneau, who was a French-Canadian fur trader who was selected to go on the expedition to help with translation between various Native American tribes. He knew several languages, to include Hidatsa, and his wife Sacagawea knew Shoshone. She was raised Shoshone and kidnapped at the age of 12 by the Hidatsa tribe. She and several other children. There were 4 men. And again, you don't know all the history, competing accounts and that sort of thing, but apparently 4 men, 4 women were killed in that excursion into the Shoshone tribe, and several male children were killed, but some were taken captive, and she was one of them taken captive. She was then raised by the Hidatsa, but sold to Toussaint Charbonneau at the age of 13. And by the time they made the expedition, she was 16. Now, he had purchased her and another Shoshone teenager as wives, and was invited to come on the expedition with one of his wives, and apparently it was Sacagawea that was selected. That might have been because she was pregnant, that she was selected, versus the other young lady who went by Otter Woman, I believe. So, and history is elusive a lot of times. I kind of compare it to my own sense of history in terms of my ancestors. I can go back perhaps 2 generations and know a lot of the history. My grandmother, spent a lot of time with my grandmother, knew her hopes, her dreams, her fears, lots of her life experiences. But when I go back to my great-grandmother on my father's side, I know her name. I know she died in her 30s. I know she died on the operating table for a gallbladder that apparently just wasn't operating right. So she died under the knife. That's what I know. I don't know her hopes, her dreams, her heartaches, her joys. I have no information in that respect. Now, if she had kept a journal, I would know more. And if my great-grandfather, who was married to her, had kept a journal, I would probably know even more. Now, would those counts be in sync, or would they be different? That's where you kind of question, what's the real history here? It's nice when things are consistent, then you can kind of say, okay, that's probably accurate. But when things are inconsistent, that's where we make the best educated guesses we can. So I'm sharing what I think I know to be accurate, but with a grain of salt. Again, she was kidnapped at the age of 12, sold to Toussaint at 13, and one of 2 teenagers who were sold to him as wives, and at 16 went off on this expedition, carrying a child, and had a son along the way who was named Jean-Baptiste Chardonneau, and later on had a daughter after the trip was over, apparently, because the trip took 2 years, 10 months, 4 months, 10 days. And that daughter was named Lisette Charbonneau. And William Clark developed a fondness for the young man and wanted to educate him, and that was allowed to happen. And eventually he adopted Jean-Baptiste and Lizette, both children. And in Missouri, where it was done, apparently you could only adopt if both parents were dead. Toussaint reportedly was killed via a tribal attack on a fort, but that was apparently not true, and he lived until the age of 76. Native American oral history suggests that Sacagawea left Toussaint at some point in time, married into the Comanche tribe, and lived to an old age and died in Wyoming. Other accounts suggest that she died at the age of 24 due to fever. So what's true and what's not true, I have no idea. But she did lead a remarkable life. If she died at 24 at a very, with a short number of years, she led a very remarkable life, being very pivotal in terms of the expedition's survival in a couple of cases when they ran across the Shoshone tribe and it was discovered her brother was chief of that tribe. It was a great reunion for her. She saw female friends she had grown up with and her brother, and it was just lots of joy. But this Shoshone tribe decided to help the expedition, the explorers, and provide them horses and guides to get across the Rocky Mountains. At another point in time, when the weather started to get more temperate and their food provisions were getting low, she was able to help them survive, not starve, because she knew what could be eaten and was instrumental there. We also know that she and Clark's enslaved servant, York, was involved in decision-making processes because there is some record of that happening in the journals that were kept. And there were only 5 journals kept, one by Lewis, one by Clark, one by Charles Floyd, the man who died, the only man who died along the way due to what is judged to be today appendicitis. And then there were 2 other people. So she did play a pivotal role and was involved in some of the decision-making processes. So remarkable woman is all we can say. And this is a good place to pause and put her on a tray so we can see her from different angles. We probably won't, well, I might turn her around. She's put together in a unique way. I didn't have an outfit for her, so I made one. So we'll pause now and get her on her tray. What's kind of interesting is there's a story of on the Pacific coast of a whale that got beached and died, and she said, I have a right to see this great fish. So she was able to see the great fish. So, her voice was not ignored, apparently. So anyway, yeah, I made her from scratch. I personally don't know what she looked like, but I imagined her to be young. If she did die at 24, she would have been very young still. And I created the outfit. I doubt if it's accurate, but I'm going to go with it. It's made of chamois or chamois, chamois, I should say, or chamois. Anyway, and it's all put together by hot glue. So in the back, some things aren't long enough to seal together. So you'll see where things fall apart in the back. But in the front, I think she looks pretty darn good. And it maybe is not too bad. Yeah, it's a little open here. I didn't have enough material to go around, but That was fun putting her together. So we'll pause now and get tighter close-ups of her from here on up. I don't know exactly what she looked like. I'm not sure anybody does. But if she started the trip at age 16, and it is true that she died at 24, she was young. So black brunette hair, obvious, would be for Native American, and I used chamois material to try to create a Native American outfit. I wasn't too fond of the stuff I saw on eBay or other places, and so I just thought I'd make something. And I added red only because for the explorer I showed the other day, he had a red shirt on, so I wanted them to match. So anyway, so we'll just do some side-to-side shots here. And I just noticed something may be missing. So let's pause and let me get that on her so you can see it. So the thing that was missing was the knife. I didn't see her as a helpless female. I saw her as a strong female, even at a tender age of 16. So I decided to put a knife on her. So we'll pause now and get a tighter close-up of her face. This head sculpt is originally Asian, but Asians and Native Americans do share some similar details. At least for me, this works for Sacagawea. There you go. I have kept Toussaint Charbonneau in the pose I had him last time, and her standing. I don't really see her as being subservient to him, despite the times that they lived in. I think she had a voice, and this is my attempt to try to recognize her and her contributions to the expedition. So I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.